For those of you who don't know, I am a lifelong James Bond fan. Right from when I was a real little kid, I was always infatuated with James Bond thanks to my father. And he was always one of those prevailing cinematic icons right up there with Indiana Jones or Luke Skywalker. When a James Bond movie came on, the whole family watched it. So, being a lifelong fan, I kind of grew up during the Pierce Brosnan era, and when Daniel Craig was coming in, was a little skeptical. Casino Royale, however, completely won me over. Then Quantum of Solace came out, and I was kind of like, about that. So I didn't know what to expect going into Skyfall, but then the reviews started coming out. And let's just say that when the previews say best Bond ever, they're not lying.
The sky falls and it crumbles.
So where to start with this movie? This movie just was a great action film, and it continues down the same path of the other Craig Bonds, where it's more realistic, it's more gritty, it's darker than the Brosnan or the Moore movies, more along the lines of the George Lazenby, Timothy Dalton ones, and it really is it's just white knuckle. It's a white knuckle movie right from the get-go. You're just on this roller coaster ride of action and awesome. And that's not why I really think that this is the best Bond movie, though. There's two main reasons why I really feel that this is the best. One is the cinematography. Cinematography in this is absolutely gorgeous. There are some breathtaking visuals in this movie that I've never seen in a Bond film. And there's this really great action scene where it's just all one shot, completely fully choreographed, and it's a beautiful silhouette against a neon backdrop. It is jaw-droppingly awesome. From the times that they have fun when the crew's in China to the more tropical settings, right down to even when they go back to England, which is something that should be a little boring. The cinematography is just breathtaking in this movie. Sam Mendes did a fantastic job setting up these brilliant camera shots and telling the cinematographer what to do. It was absolutely great. But the real reason why I liked it is because it continued along what they did with Casino Royale, and that's actually making Bond a character, and that's going to be hit or miss with a lot of people. A lot of people want James Bond to be this unmovable icon. They just want him to be this personification of every lustful desire, every great thing about being a man. That's what they want James Bond to be. But Craig's James Bond is not somebody you want to be. It's somebody who's broken. It's somebody who's really just not a despicable human being, but lives a miserable life. And you really don't want to be in this guy. And he finds his escapes in these vices. So, of course, Bond being drinking all the time, or sleeping with random women, is kind of looked down upon in this movie, which I really like. But most of all, it really centers around the relationship between Bond and M, and it really gets into the characters, which is something that most Bond movies just don't do. Most Bond movies are just straight action adventure, and there's nothing wrong with that. It can be a lot of fun, unless you're, Tomorrow Never Dies or something like that, or Moonraker. But in this movie, it really focuses on characters and the interaction between characters, and a Bond villain who isn't really after taking over the world. Javier Bardem is an amazing bad guy. Not the best, though. A lot of people are I think they're overpraising Javier Bardem a little bit. He's a great actor, but I think the writing for his role, well, they could have done a little bit more with it. But especially the final act of the film, it really is heart-pounding. You're just at the edge of your seat the entire time, and it fixes all the mistakes from Quantum of Solace, because Quantum of Solace was taking too many pages from the Identity series, the Bourne Identity, Bourne Ultimatum, I should say, it's the Bourne series, where there's a lot of jump cuts, and the camera's hyper zoomed and shaking all over the place during the fight scenes. Here, no, you get the full breathtaking vision of every single fight and action scene. It is just great. But I can't recommend Skyfall enough. Skyfall is easily right up there with Casino Royale as my favorite Bond movie ever, and probably might eclipse it after a few sequential watches. So I can't recommend this enough. I saw it in IMAX opening day. You guys got to go out there and see it. 007 Skyfall.